Howdy mates, good afternoon. Here's a part 2 video just along the Myakka River here. This is my second pit stop. This is one of my other favorite little spots to visit while I'm out on the river, because it just really, to me, gives a feel for what Florida is really like in these parts on the Myakka. Because it just feels like it's a friendly camping vibe, but yet at the same time you gotta also respect the space that you're in. So I think one of my favorite features of this spot is just looking at the live oaks, like right up here. Just look at them, just how they have that ability to sprawl out as if it is a depiction of what lightning does in the sky. And just the amount of epiphytes, bromeliads, and ferns that reside on this tree, or on the live oaks in general, it's quite remarkable. And please keep in mind too, the bros, my bromeliads, my bros, two-way street, they don't act as a parasite on the tree. Rather, they actually just use the tree as sort of like a living base, since they can't fully reside on the ground. So they pretty much take any leftover water that the tree hasn't used, and those epiphytes and bromeliads will use that water. So think of it as the tree is like the landlord, and then the air plants are like your, like your tenant, basically. Now, with that being said, in return, the air plants, what they can do for the oak tree is they essentially can protect it from, just any decay, for example. It just helps cover their bark a little bit so that they're not fully exposed to the elements. But it's just so neat. And the cool thing is, now I've made a reference to him a couple of times, but Gordon Lightfoot, he actually has a song that's called Spanish Moss. Y'all ought to take a listen. It's in his album Summertime Dreams from 1976. And I gotta say, with his storytelling and his music, it really gives you a nice depiction of how Spanish moss behaves and just where you can find it. Because that's the neat thing too. On the subject of Spanish moss, it's not even a true moss, since it doesn't really provide like the photosynthesis like moss does. I mean, in a sense it does, but not like moss, true moss. Because the thing is, true moss doesn't always have flowers. But like Spanish moss, on the other hand, it does. If you actually look carefully, like right there, that is an actual bloom coming from Spanish moss itself. So with that being said, this is more of an epiphyte, as a matter of fact. But you have to watch out, though. You really don't want to touch them too much, because there are indeed red chiggers that reside on the Spanish moss, and if they get on your skin, they can bite. So you may experience quite a bit of itching if you get exposed to them. So, in other words, don't touch the Spanish moss more than you have to. Because those red chiggers can be little devils. Hence, you know, with them being red. How ironic. But here, too, on this example, you can actually see like the resurrection fern. You can see that it's rather shriveled and dry right now, so that indicates that it hasn't really rained recently. Usually if it's that shriveled up, that means, yeah, it hasn't rained in probably at least a month. So you give it another couple of good rainstorms, which we are soon reaching that time of the year, they will immediately come back to life. And that is hence how the fern gets its name. Because they do have that ability to reserve their water use. So even though it looks like they're dead, they are indeed still alive. They're just in a dormant state. Quite amazing, isn't it? Water is by far the most important compound when it comes to living things. Because without water, no living thing can survive. And with that being said, you don't want to reckon with water either. Because at the same time, water can also kill you, too. So really, it's a matter of just respecting the nature of water. Ooh. Just had a fire ant on my foot. Ouch. Gosh, those things are little devils, too. The thing is, they're not even native to here. They were actually brought over. Yeah. So, alright, you guys. Thanks for watching. I think this is a good point to wrap up. And Journey on a Journey is once again outwards. Take care, folks. See ya.